Get out and party.
5 is flowers and 6 is balls.
Let's get out and party.
5 is flowers and 6 is balls. 7 is crowns and 8 is thread. 9 is blue and 10 is chickens.
Give her the pep read to you. Read to him. Give her bear.
Uh-oh.
Gonna cover up his soup.
Right, start asking him something.
Did you tell him what you wanted?
Yeah, I told him just start one. Oh, let's act like a little brat now.
He doesn't
Give
want
him
it
a sad tap. Sit him up there, see if he'll sit down.
Go show Pap your belly. He wants the book back.
Yeah. Yeah, there's my puppy dog. Uh-oh.
I ain't asking mine. It's running.
Okay.
See the light?
Alright.
Yeah.
Pap. Pappy.
Now, did you think of some things? Remember, I was telling you yesterday. Think about
Huh?
to talk about. You know where your mother and daddy was born, where you were born.
Yeah.
Well, just
I don't remember when I was born, no.
you don't remember when you was born.
No.
Where did the event
Old
happen?
man Bill Thompson said that was trouble. People didn't remember when they couldn't remember when they was born. Said he remembered dogs barking when the doctor come to see him.
Where were your parents living when you were born?
Huh?
Where were your parents
Up
living?
there at the mountain where they lived all their lives.
Were you all born there?
Huh?
Were all of you born there?
Yes. Right there. Said delivered to most of them for $2 fees.
Who did a doctor come to the
Doctor.
house?
Yep. And she had a toothache when one of them was born and said, I asked the doctor for her tooth and he got through, said, what oh? He said, oh, nothing. He said, it's bad enough to hurt you, they're charging anything.
Huh. $2 a piece.
And a tooth pulled on the side.
Wow. Well, now, I don't know. Where was your mother was Crampton? Wasky.
Wasky.
And she was from where?
Right up there, Mountainville, born up there where Danners used to live, up on the mountain.
See, I didn't know. I thought
That's
she was.
old Parawaski's place. And I suppose Christian Waskis too, because the tombstone sat there in the cellar that had 2 sets of them made. One laying over there at Hawker's Fields, as plain as was the day it was cut. But he was buried under the name of Whiskey. And they had new ones made and set them there in the cellar, Danner's place, and they never got put up. Dave Selva stole them for doorsteps for the. And Sarah went over to visit Finey, and when she went to go in the door and seen his tombstone, she jumped over the top of him.
Oh my Lord.
Oh, there was big tall ones, that tall or more. But the one he was buried down in Hawker's Field was only a small one, about that tall. But it must have been a nice piece of marble because it was just as plain as it was the day it was cut. She always said there was something wrong with the letter, and on the monuments reading the cut none of it, 2 more. and the other was Kristen Watsky. The first one was Whiskey. And somebody said when they come over here, the name was Wooski, some of that kind come from Poland, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Came to Georgia.
Huh?
They came to Georgia with Oglethorpe
Yeah.
in the 1600s.
Well, now,
Well,
how did the Crampons get in?
Did your father and mother grow up together? Did they know each other from little kids up?
I imagine they did. She was born and raised there. And he was born and raised up at the mountain, so I guess they knowed each other all lives. They married in 79, I think.
How old were they when they got married?
Well, he was born in 51, and she was born in 57.
So they were in their 20s.
Huh?
They were in their 20s then.
Yeah, he was.
Why is it? You know that.
She was about 21 or 22, according to that, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
She never much for running around. She always said her family, her fortune was in her family. I never could see it, but that's what she always said. Many
Not the big
times.
eye, look.
Huh? If she got a big kick out of a big family, she had.
There was what, 11?
Yep. And I'm the only one left.
Hmm.
What a pity.
Huh?
What a pity.
But they were lucky that none of them died when they were little. So many
Yeah.
big families had lots of children because they lost them.
Yep. Well, as many times, when the doctor come to that place for 10 years, nobody never got sick.
Oh my God.
Halter made a big high trestle to saw wood. Stand up straight. Charlie and Lawrence and the boys, they were sawing wood. Sawing about as fast as they could and saw and upset the trestle and broke Charlie's leg. That's the only thing ever had to happen to him out there. But when they pulled the saw, it was going so fast, he upset and broke his leg.
Oh, did they call a doctor? Did the doctor come?
Yeah, they put down the cast.
How old was he?
I know, I guess he's 14, maybe something like that.
Look at that.
Or maybe he's about 16.
Now, did all 11 of you go to school?
Sure, all went to school. Yep. Didn't all go at one time. The older ones was out before the younger ones started.
How many years did you go?
I don't know, 6, 7, right? And I'll tell you one thing, there was very few of them got through school them days. It's about equal to high school now. They would go to school in the wintertime, in summertime we went to work. After you got big enough to work. Then in the wintertime, when it's off school, you go back and get them. Yep.
He's brushing his teeth, Pat.
He thinks he will. Well, how did you meet Grandma?
At the, I know that Orlando was working for Frank over here. But I know that me and Charlie went to Brunswick, had something going up at the dance hall in the park. And she was visiting her old aunt in Brunswick, they lived there. And that's where we met him to meet him.
Who was she there with?
Huh?
Who was Grandma there with?
I reckon her mother and some of the others. See, they all lived there. Her Coopers lived down in Brunswick, and they were their aunts. And that's what they were doing, they were visiting them, and then went to the park.
Well, how old was Grandma at the time?
How old?
2.
Oh, she was about 14.
How old were you?
Well, I was 6 years older than she was. Now, of course, that's what we meant. That was just a meeting. 1919, her and I went to the fair, and I gave her a little mug with a name and the date cut on it. It's over there in the cabinet yet. It's a nice little thing.
What did you say?
She was 15 then.
She was entering 15. I was 20-something.
21.
Huh?
21.
That's right.
You robbed a cradle.
Oh no, she was a big girl.
She's a very big man.
Not overly big. But
No, but. Mm.
Yep.
So how long did you, what did you say, date her? How long did you see her before you got married?
22.
We got married at 22.
So she wasn't getting married. She was 18 years old, so she didn't.
Did Grandma say that, or did Grandma Merchant say that?
No, Dad said that. That's what she always said. She wasn't getting married. She was 18.
Well, she was almost maybe.
And I didn't insist on it. We was getting along all right.
How often did you see her?
Oh, most times in the last couple of years, once a week I'd go over on Sunday. One time I used to, bad, had to put on ice scrapers and walk over, but I got them.
What'd you put on?
Ice scrapers, fasten them on your shoes. Oh, they come terrible sleet as ever was, and the horse couldn't stand up on it nothing. And of course I put on both of these ice scrapers on my shoes and I over anyhow.
Desperate.
Yeah.
Well, how long did it take you to get there every Sunday?
Huh?
How long did it take you to get there every Sunday?
Walking? About 2 hours, I reckon.
Took you 2 hours to walk over,
Yeah, about.
and how long would you stay?
Well, I left after about midnight.
And walk back? By yourself?
Yes.
When nobody gonna get him? Not then.
And then when drove the horse back, didn't take quite so long. The horse, he wasn't used to being tied out, and had a plum tree. There was a nice plum tree, and damn, he didn't dig it up the roots one night. He didn't like to be tied.
Horse wanted to go.
He dug the plum tree out by the roots.
It's a snowman.
Well, Pat, what were you telling me about the first time you saw an airplane?
First time I saw an airplane. First thing I seen trying to fly, come to flying the Victory Drive. After the war was over, they brought 3 in there. And we went in to see them fly. One flew, one fell over the stone fence and broke the tail off, and the other never started. But they only made a little circle around over the fairground then and lit. And that was the first one I ever seen. Then it wasn't long till they come in with a little old plane hauling passengers in the summertime in August. Some old farmer come and brought his overcoat, and the man flying the thing said, Jesus Christ, he must have thought we were going somewhere up in the air. I said, brought his overcoat to go as it's cold.
Could anybody go up?
Oh yes, they charge $5 to take you up and fly around over town.
You didn't go, did you?
Oh no.
Well, that was a lot of money.
No, right now it's $5.
So say that's like
That was $5 5 days work or more them times.
Who were you working for then?
Huh?
Who were you working for then?
Why, they were working for Frank over there.
He paid you $1 a day?
No, indeed. Paid me $13 the first month and 14 the first year and 14 the second. Then I went on the railroad, got 70 cents, 17 cents an hour. Worked 10 hours a day for $1.70.
When was that? What year was that?
That is 1916, I reckon. I worked there about 3 months, and all you had to work was old drunks and people that couldn't read and write or nothing else.
I still got that.
The 17 cents an hour and everything was done by hand. Hell, I'm going back to Jerry Layton's where I come from. I was getting $1.25 a day and my board there, so I went back there.
Now, did you say Lakin?
Yeah,
Lakin?
Jerry Layton up here where Dave Fry's place is, where Loy lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that belongs. One time a day, Layton was owned pretty near all this land up and down there. Even this little place here where Nininger lived, that belonged to Miss Betty Layton. John Foley's place, and George Layton's, this one over here, and Henry Layton's is up there, and up there where Neil Thrasher used to live, Tom Thrasher's place.
So they owned just about everything from Jefferson to the river?
Layton's owned pretty near everything. Yep. Then never married the farmers of the colony. And they never married till they got old. And the kids when they were born, there's no count for nothing. I went to school with William and John. They were nice boys as far as that's concerned. But the old woman had consumption, the old man was old, and they walked around the hand hanging down the side of them, and the green snot running out their noses, they couldn't learn nothing. George wasn't much better.
Well, how'd they get the land in the first place?
3 or 4 generations of them farming in the colony and made. They were some of the first settlers in Frederick County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now would that be Abraham? Is that the one where they got
Yeah,
the son?
Abraham Layton settled up there where Lois is at. Yep. Then they owned this back here where, back the other side of Huffmeister, that old place down where Joe Ruxin used to live, they owned that too.
Yeah, they owned a lot of land.
Yeah, they did.
What's that one where all these soldiers? What's that? Dixon's farm up here, Pat?
Huh?
Dixon's farm. And that where the soldiers, the Union soldiers all stopped up there that one time? You
Stop
know,
where?
when the Dixon's farm, Mama,
Oh yes, up there on the mountain next to where Pearson lives, that field lays out of the west, you know. See, they had no communication telephones, nothing that kind. And they camp on high ground where they could overlook the valley so nothing else could get that. Dad said there's 40,000 stayed on that field one night.
mm-hmm.
Were they
Yeah.
headed to Antietam?
Huh?
Where were they headed? Where were they
Going
going?
to Sharpsburg, there's a long way to Sharpsburg.
That's pretty cool. I've got it in that one book of mine.
Yep.
Did your dad see it?
Yes, he said there was, he said there's a couple wagon loads of guns and blankets and stuff left there when they left. Some deserted and some one thing and some the other, but he said the field laid full of guns and blankets and uniforms and stuff. where some of them deserted that night. But that's all the communications they had. They had a place up there on the mountain above Danner, another over on the Sugarloaf Mountain. And it had a light in a barrel, and they'd get up at night with a flag and signal across from one to the other where what they wanted to know. I seen the first telephones put in. First telephones, the first radios, the first televisions, all that stuff's come in my time.
When did you use, when was the first time you used a telephone?
Huh?
When was the first time you used a telephone?
Oh, I don't know. He didn't use it for a good while after that. Old my Uncle Mark Mahawk, he went to, they just put him in Jeff, and there was a fellow by the name of Costa working in Shaft's store there. The old man went in there, Mr. Costa said, I want to call Mr. Figgy to bring me some hog feed and flour. He said, all right, there's the telephone. I walked up and to it off the hook. Ah, Mr. Figgy, I already heard him all over Jeff. Bring me 100 weight of hog feed and a half barrel of flour. Goodbye, I said. And they hung it back up. This fellow Costa was working in the store, young man. He said, did you get him, Mr. Howard? Oh, yes, I get him. He was listening. So after the old man went out, Costa went and called Fee and told him what old man Howard wanted, and said he never did know that he hadn't got him. He thought he was standing there listening all the time. Said, oh, you heard him halfway through, Jeff. 100 weight of hog feed and a half barrel of flour. I said, goodbye. Them days you're wrong. You number by the handle on the telephone. Everybody listened, everybody on the line got the same ring, and they all listened to it.
How'd you know who was supposed to get the call?
They had a great long box hung up against the wall, the handle on them.
I've seen some of those sold at auction.
There's one
Very
upstairs when we fished William Marsden's house up over there at Lovettsville. There's one up in the attic. It's been there ever since it was used, you know. And I said to him one day, William, there's something here I'd like to have. I said, I'll pay you for it. I'd like to have it. He said, what's that? I said, that old telephone up there on the attic. He said, Russell, he said, I asked my brother just some time ago, was there anything here he wanted? And he said, yes, he wanted that telephone. So I said, ain't there no more. He's got her to go.
Did you have a phone at your house?
No, indeed, no. Only a few of the farmers had it. That started it. But I remember stringing them wires along in the schoolhouse up by Stockman's up to Dage around there. And was the first one I seen him put up.
When was that?
Huh?
Do you remember when that was?
No, but it must have been, 1910 or 12, because I was getting to be a right good sized boy going to school. 1908, maybe 7 or 8, somewhere along there. But everybody listened when wrong, everybody got the same ring, not the same ring, but everybody knows who to call them. There's so many long, so many short, you turn the handle a little further. And
It's
When did you see your first car?
Williams bought the first one ever coming out there. Williamson's boys and the old man coming down at the farm. And when that thing come down past the schoolhouse, the school teacher tried to keep him sitting in the seat, but it wasn't no use. He was up looking out the window when the automobile went past. And I don't think Williamson's ever owned another one from then on. They were the first ones ever come down this road.
What kind did they have?
Oh Lord, I don't know what it was. It was a different kind of what it is now. They get up again the hill and they couldn't make it and they run backward down and get another start. Then Howard Merritt, he bought one pretty soon after that.
Your brother Howard?
Howard Merritt,
Oh, Howard Merritt.
yeah, there was a whole bunch of them old maid women up there and one boy.
When did you get your first car?
June of '26. I got the first Ford with what's called balloon tires. 30 or 440. 30-inch tire and 440 around. They call them balloon tires.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $412 and 12 cents, and I argued the salesman a half a day, tried to even cut that 12 cents off, and they wouldn't even do that.
Well, now, did you save your money and pay for it in cash, or did you pay for it monthly?
No, it was financed at the bank, and you paid that. But you didn't have to pay so much, about $12, $14 a month. I was living here when I bought it.
How long did you keep it?
Oh, I kept it several years. It was a touring car, and I finally got a sedan body, a great high top, and put that on it. And when he quit using it, pulled out over there on the farm, was living over there, then old Henry used to come and crawl in and sleep in it.
We played in it too.
Huh?
We played in that
Yeah.
thing. We went a lot of places.
Yes, sir.
Was that a 4-door or a 2-door car?
It was 4-door.
Well, they had one at the fair, was a 2-door one.
Huh?
They had one at the fair the other week, was 2-door.
Yes.
I remember getting it.
Didn't you ever play in that?
Huh?
I wouldn't know.
My God, I remember playing in that car.
That was the first car they owned?
That old, was it Model T or Model A? It sit over there, underneath the.
No, it was up behind the barn.
Well, it was up around that area.
And I drove from June of 1926 till, well, I've never been charged with a violation yet, but the day before Christmas I went to Frederick Seabird getting some dishes, got a little wreck in there, and the cop come and all he was, my friend was Jim this and Jim Neal. He said, well, he said, how long you been driving? 25 years? I said, oh, longer than that. He said, 30 years? I said, yes, more than 50. Well, he said, you've never had a citation. He said, there ain't many. He said, I'll tell you that there ain't many that he never had a citation in that length of time. And he fixed it up so I had to send the state in $30. And they cut 3 points off my driver's license and said that I'd have to learn to drive more carefully. I went for 60 something years and never had a wreck due to my driving, and then they said I'd have to learn to drive more careful.
Who taught you to drive?
Huh?
Who taught you to drive?
Well, you taught yourself. That's the silliest thing ever was. The first thing they ask you now, did you take physical ed in school or whatever it is? You got into singing when?
How did the Cramptons be related to you?
Well, my grandmother was a Crampton, old Parawaskis.
I know.
Wife was a Crampton.
What was her name?
I don't know, I didn't know. You know, there wasn't no cameras them days. And there was men come around taking pictures. Well, they took Parawaski's picture, and Charlotte Bass was standing beside of him, and Mrs. Waskey standing back in the yard, and Oat standing at the side of him. He was just a boy, and we often wondered how come old Charlotte was standing at the side of him, and his wife was standing back she was standing back in the yard smiling. Well, I understood after that as his girlfriend. Now, I don't know.
Kept it in the family.
I don't know. Nell finally sold the frame off of it, the antique dealer. I don't know what went to the picture. But old Miss Charlotte come to our place to live when she got old and feeble about, oh, she was 80-some years old.
How old were you then?
Huh?
How old were you then?
Oh, I wasn't very old. I was a teenage boy. We always called her Y. I don't know what anything, but she said, why this and why the other, and she was just an old person. And Noel was a young girl, and she helped to give her a bath, and she had no toes on one foot. And she said, well, why? I said, you ain't got no toes on that one foot. No, she said, honey, I'll tell you what happened. She said, I stood out in the snow talking with John Hawker and froze my toes off. Said they come off. Now, you must have been an entertainer.
Must have been. I can't imagine it being worth
Now,
it.
she was
Homemade at
a
that.
sister to this bastard comes up here, John Foley. But they wouldn't take care of her. She come to our place and stayed there, I guess, a year or two. And she began to get in pretty bad shape and she wanted to go to Monterview. So Dad took her out there and she died there and was buried at Potter's Field in Monterview.
This would be Mr. Basford's, she would be his aunt,
That was his great aunt.
his
yeah.
great aunt.
Yep. Yep.
Ask him about different jobs
The
he's
old
worked
woman,
at.
the old woman's all right. She used to run a store. That's how and said the old Krawoski built a store for her. Where they did, I don't know nothing about that. I didn't know nothing about that kind of thing. But I do know if you look on the deeds in Frederick, he sold a lot of building lots and so forth around the mountain over there.
Other than working on the railroad, what else have you done?
Huh?
Other than working on the railroad, what other jobs? Who else did you work for?
Who else did I work for? Well, I worked for Frank. I worked on the railroad. I worked for Garrett Aiken, not for the month. I worked him for the day, every day. The hardest money I ever earned was George Layton's dad, the hard chick working there. He was what they call the first hand, and Ed Cooper was second hand. The old Cooper, hard chick, he was supposed to be a leader. So we went to dinner thing going, and that silly old thing about Ron Smith, he never stopped for water or nothing else, and then the sun went down. And when he eats supper, and George said, well, he said, the man gets $1 a day, the boy gets 50 cents. And he said, you made a half a day and I can't pay you. And I had to walk down there 3 times to get that quarter. That's how damn tight when money was them days. And there wasn't no work. You either worked on the farm or in the mountain a little bit. You might get some wood to cut or some rails to make. Something of that kind, but there wasn't no work. Then when he was close enough to the railroad, worked a little bit on the railroad. He didn't get nothing for it. Bob Rutherford told me, and he went on track, he got 79 cents a day for 10 hours.
Did you go to Frederick very often?
I was about 16 years old when I went to Frederick. I rode in on the trolley car to get to the school.
That was your first trip to Frederick.
That was the first trip to Frederick. Dad went with me. Yep.
Where'd you get the trolley car at?
Yeah. Now they bought a right away from Jeff Brunswick and laid the tracks in the street in Brunswick, all the way through Brunswick. And not too many years ago, some newspaper reporter put in one notice that it's a $50 reward to tell them where the only railroad ever was built that a car never run on. Somebody sent in Brunswick and they got that $50 too. But they bought it right away, all the way from Jeff to Brunswick, and laid the track in the street up there, getting ready to run the railroad through Brunswick. And automobile automobiles come on, they never got to. Me and Charlie went to the Catholic picnic at Buggestown. Walked to Jeff, got on an electric car, went to Freddie, got on the steam car, went to Buggestown to the picnic. And they come the worst thunderstorm that even ever was. When we come back up, coming up from Frederick to Braddock, coming up the mountain, they could see 5 barns burn coming up there. And when they got up here, the one up here, Frank lived, that was a barn.
From the lightning?
Yep.
How much did it cost you to do that? To drive the trolley to Frederick to Buckystown?
I think it was about 25, 30 cents one way from Frederick to Rumsey. And you pick you up anywhere. If you wanted to get on the fence or corner or anywhere like that, all you had to do was walk up beside the track and wave to them, and they'd stop and pick you up. And Jess Himes and Hugh Collar was the last two had run the car. One was conductor and the other was motorman. And there was a guy wire up at McBride's Woods. Hooked the car and boy, she swung around and Hugh Collar was running and Jess was the conductor. I got Jess, said she's hooked again. They had to get up there and loosen that wire and put it over the top. They had an old electric generator over there in the mountain between Braddock and Middletown. And if it used much current, cars wouldn't run. They said they woo, 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 sometimes hours before you get enough current to go again. Frida Trusty was in here in 1919. Her and I got on the car and started going to Frederick to move pictures, going in that night to move pictures. You got up there where the beer joint is, above Jeff's current went off. When we had our nerve with us, he got on the road and flagged somebody down the automobile and went to Freddie, not knowing how he was going to get back. It was about 11 o'clock that night. Current come on, we come on back. But you never knowed when it was going to run or when it wasn't. Finally, the old generator plant up there had a great big old steam engine into the great big flywheel, flew to pieces. The big flywheel flew to pieces. Then they had to build another one, so I think it's somewhere further up to build a big one. Then they had pretty good current. But as long as that little old power station run there between Braddock and Middletown, you never know whether you're going anywhere or not.
Now, was Frida Trusty a cousin?
Yep. Frank Waskey, that was my mother's brother. He went to Ohio. He had a girlfriend over here, over at Mountainville. And he was going out there and work on the farm. He'd get a couple dollars a month more work in Ohio than he could in here. Gonna make some money and get married. And he got out there and got in trouble with this other woman that had to marry her. They used to sit on the plow and look at her picture and cry and so forth. Yep.
Spoke about Aunt Sarah when
A good many people went to Ohio them days. Some of Stewart rode in here to Dare to old Uncle Nace. They were settled somewhere in the eastern part of Ohio. To leave this godforsaken state of Maryland and come out there where they could amount to something. Said if he didn't have the money, they'd let him have the money. It would cost $15 to come on a stagecoach from Maryland over where they was at. And if he didn't have the money to come on out there, they'd let him have it. But he never went. stayed up at the mountain. He was the one who got the place. Give it to Dad. Dad gave it away just like he got it. Genevieve got it and she done all right.
Who gave it to your father?
Nace Pearl, his old uncle, he worked for Ramsburg's up there where Ramsburg used to live, the union school. He worked for him 27 years for $7 a month. And they couldn't pay him. And that was a mountain lot they owned up there, and he gave him that to settle up with him. And said on the deed, her and I went in there and looked at it, said the ground is paid for in full. It didn't say that you had to take it as a debt.
And that was your father's uncle.
Yep. Brother to old Jacob.
What made him decide to give it to your father?
Well, I don't know. He had to do something with it. He wasn't married.
Oh.
And Stock always said he died chopping down a tree when he was 6 years old, a 5-pound axe, but I didn't know nothing about that. He died in the woods, I know that.
Well, do you remember your Uncle George who went west?
Oh, no, he was gone probably for.
Oh, okay.
He went about, 1845, 48, somewhere along there.
Oh. I didn't realize how much older. I should have.
He never told nobody where he come from or why he come out there, nothing else. They thought he'd committed some crime and run away from the law. I said, nope, I was eating breakfast one morning. I said, Frida, we're going to tell him what happened. He said, we're sure we're going to tell him. And I told him they all went to church together, a bunch of young boys. And they're going home and they fell out. It was all related cousins. And old Jim Smith stabbed this other boy he died from it. They had no surgery them days, and he lingered several months and died from it.
So what made George go west? Because
Said he either had to leave here or he's going to kill Jim Smith, one of the two.
it wasn't George's brother, though, was it?
Huh?
Was it George's brother that got killed?
George's daddy he was going to kill. You know one thing Dad always used to tell us about going over to play with Stewart when he was a boy. But damn it, they're all related. His aunt married a Stewart, and one of them married old Graff Jenkins. They was all related. Everything around that mountain was related to him at that time. Old Graff Jenkins worked on the railroad, track foreman, and walked track. And cars killed a man down there by the end of the Manor Woods, and he walked the track that morning. He picked the hair, hid up by the hair, and carried it down Point Rocks and set up on the store porch. Said he found a snapping turtle up the road. He was a drunk. Cap was a drunk, Lute was a drunk, Lute's boy was a drunk. It followed them on down for I don't know how many generations.
Are you talking about Stewarts?
Huh?
Are these Stewarts you're talking about?
No, Jenkins.
Jenkins.
The steward was related to him too. His mother was a steward and said when the 18 and 50 census was taken, there was a woman at Stewart's. Her name was Mary Pearl and said she was 100 years old. Now Stewart's wife was Pearl too. But Dad never spoke of them as that way. Always it was John Stewart and Tom Stewart, all them, and Jenkins, old Cap Jenkins, and among them, is all related to him.
Who was the Mary Pearl that was 100?
I guess that's old Jacob's sister, I imagine. But then they took the 1850 cents and said there's Mary Stewart, Mary Pearl at Stewart said she was 100 years old.
Maybe she was Nace's sister.
Huh?
Maybe it was Nace's sister.
I don't know. know she was a pearl. She was, unless she was married to someone, but I reckon not. She was going the name of Mary Pearl, must have been an old maid. Then old Miss Jenkins, I knowed her. She was another one of them. Last time I seen her, she come over home to help the butcher. You lived in the mountain over there. You went up that slanting road up to where this fellow built that house up there, you know.
Bashir's?
Yep. And then she had to pass down over the mountain. She went down there, not at the old foundation, but not too far from there. Then Tom Pearl lived at the foundation. He took Liz over there. Liz was a one-legged woman. They took her over there to keep her away from the men, but they said it didn't do no good.
Where'd she come from?
I didn't know it was his wife.
Well, who's Tom Pearl?
Huh?
Who's Tom Pearl? Your father's brother?
Yep. Or his uncle, I didn't know which it was, his uncle, I reckon. But they-
Jacob's brother.
Yeah.
Well, where did Sari come from? Where did Aunt Sari come from?
She was Jim Smith's
Sister.
daughter.
Daughter.
And her and Wes was second cousins. All of them is all related. When the hell he ever seen to that cat, I don't know.
Oh, she hopped around like a cricket.
Huh?
She hopped around like a cricket.
I know she did, but she couldn't talk. And then you looked up, and rubbed snuff up under her dress. But she used to work for old Miss Hathaway in Brunswick, the boarding house. And she'd get on Adamstown in a train to Adamstown and go over there on Monday. Then when she come back on Saturday evening, she'd get off down there and walk all the way up through the mountain to see Wes.
Now, she wasn't married yet then.
No. But I can still remember they wore long dresses them days. You know, she'd come with a whole handful picked up the dancing along and a little parasol. They all had a parasol that big up on a stem. All they was dressed up when they had them.
Who was Uncle Wes supposed to marry?
Huh?
Was Uncle Wes supposed to marry somebody else?
Yes, him and Harry Michael was to marry two Moser girls. Both going to get married the same day. And Wes backed out on it and never told nobody why or anything about it. But he didn't go through with it. Harry did. Harry married the Moser. And Reedy Boyer up here where Don got that lot, his wife was a Moser, one of them. And Ellie was the one, Ellie Moser was the one Wes had been going with.
Did you ever find out why Wes didn't marry her?
He never told anybody what happened, but he just didn't go to get married.
Did he already know Sari?
Oh, he knowed her, I reckon, but he wasn't tied up with her. But that's an awful looking character talk about marriage. She wasn't of skin and bones and all the yellow look and all them Smiths and Kellers.
She was always like that.
I say so. All them Kellers was sallow looking people. I don't know, they must come from some.
Is it working?
Yeah.
As long as that light beeps.
You wonder where Grandma's people come from.
Tell me again, Pap, where did Grandma's people come from? Where did Grandma's people come from?
They said they come from all I told you a while ago, somewhere over in the eastern country. Poland.
No, that's Grandma. That's Waski. That's your grandmother.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Grandma's mother and family.
Well, now she was a Crampton company. You got her up here, right across from the correspondence arch over there.
That's your grandmother.
Huh?
Your grandmother.
She's talking about Gladys.
Yeah.
Where did Daisy's people come from?
Oh. Well, so she was married right up at Oscar Smith's. She come from Virginia. Now her mother come from, I don't know, Germany or somewhere. They come into Philadelphia and into Frederick County and into Virginia.
Well, what was Daisy doing in Maryland to get married?
Now, how do I know she got married up at Smith's?
See how old you are, Lorraine? Let's get this on tape.
Oh, John taped Ann's Miss Howard County
Now, we
pageant.
must see that.
Sean says he knew she was gonna get it.
Been in business.
Go right ahead.
What part of the family did you want to tell some more about?
Well, I want to tell her how we lived. We had a pen of hogs, we had chickens, and they kept about 3 cows. They had milk, and cream, and cheese. They give away more than they ever eat. The niggers finally got so they come over, they didn't want skim milk, please them. They wanted to stir it up and just like it was.
It wasn't
But
whole
we
milk.
had butter and had chicken and eggs. Kept about 3 cows.
That was here?
Huh?
That was when you lived here?
No, indeed, when it was up at the
Growing up.
mountain.
Oh, when you grew up. Oh.
Where we grew up, sure. Yes.
Well, did your mother get up and fix breakfast and everybody eat together?
Sure. But yeah, we didn't eat like lamb. We didn't get up and get something to eat. Nell done the cooking after she growed up, and she was a cook too, let me tell you that.
See, she had a job.
Yes, sir.
She baked too, didn't she?
Huh?
Didn't she bake bread and everything too?
Oh, yes, everybody made bread. That's the only time you see them Hale women. Yeah, they come and dance along sideways. Miss Pearl, will you give us a starter? You just had to keep so much yeast every week to make your bread again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they let theirs sour. Then they'd come up, Miss Pearl, would you give us a starter? That's the only time you'd see them. Damn it, run along the head on one side, so the crowd, boy, they didn't know nobody. Then they kept turkeys. Every time they'd get down on Hale's field, the other come, Miss Pearl, the turkeys are down there. Said Russ would sell them, get rid of them, so they went out to turkey business. But they kept, 3 or 4 dozen hens, they had eggs, plenty of them. Kept 2 or 3 cows, they had plenty of milk, cheese, butter. But them people across the mountain, they carried more away, give them more than what we used. White and black. Finally got so, didn't want skim milk, they wanted you to stir it up and give it to them. You skim the butter, the cream off and make butter, you know.
Well, they wanted to make butter.
Huh?
They wanted to make butter.
Yeah. They didn't want to make butter, but they know the poor and they didn't want skim milk, please. Duck always, she had kept a cow and she always got a pound of butter. Her old soldier, the old Miss King, old nigger woman over the mountain. One day she sent a nigger boy over there and he wanted 2 pounds. So she gave him 2 pounds, went home with it, and after a while they brought it back. 1 pound, and she said, Mama said she didn't want that. It tasted like buttermilk and was cheesy and sour and wasn't good around. She didn't want it. She said, well, why didn't you bring the other pound back? There's nothing the matter with it. Why didn't you bring it back? Well, I guess Mama wanted 1 pound. Wasn't but a short while over, come the old woman said, what did that nigger tell you anyhow? Said, told me that the butter was sour and tastes like buttermilk and everything else. Said, well, he said, he's crazy. I didn't tell him that. Said, I told him I wanted 1 pound and come over and got 2.
Was Aunt Duck selling it or was she giving it away?
No, she sold it to her.
Now, how much did she charge for a pound?
Oh, about a quarter.
Probably 10 cents that time.
Yeah. but he only 2 pounds that time, and he got home, the old one told John only 1. And he brought it back and told her it tasted like buttermilk and was cheesy and wasn't good now. And Mama only 1 pound of butter. Said, well, why didn't you bring that back? And the Elmer had his name Elmer when he growed up. He disappeared and they never knowed where he was at for 20 years or more. He killed a nigger and was in the penitentiary up in Mountainville, West Virginia. Old King said he'd tell you the black sheep in every family. He said they had one damn black one in his family.
Pappy, how did Aunt Duck get the name Duck?
I don't know, she wasn't very tall, she kind of squatty.
Was she always called Duck from a little kid up?
Yep. Yep, that was Duck.
How Uncle Sock get his name?
Old Lee Ford over here on the milk train. He was a brakeman on the milk train, and of course he had all the answers to everything working on there, you know. And Frank went down and helped him load the milk on the train, and he hadn't shaved. And he said, Doodle Sock, he said, go over to Frederick and have that spinach shaved off and tell the man Lee Ford to pay the bill. He said, you're a hell of a looking thing. And after that, he called him Sock. He called him Doodle Sock. He said, go over to Frederick and have that spinach and whiskers he had taken off. He said, tell him Lee Ford to pay the bill.
So he was a grown man before he was ever called Sock.
Oh, yes.
Did any of you ever grow a beard?
No, Chris grew a little mustache. He chewed one side off and the other one grew a very big and long. So he was cutting the trees over at Ed Smith's across the mountain here, and the sun was shining bright, and he ran and looked up his tree to see where it landed. Herm had his axe pretty sharp. He said, what a hell of a looking thing. He said, I won't work for you. He just took, Helen grabbed him and took his axe and sawed his mustache off. After that, he kept a trim or two.
That was Uncle Wes? Who was that?
Well, Herm took it.
Herm cut Wes's
Yep.
mustache.
If been one of us, he'd had a fight on his hand, but he couldn't do nothing but laugh. When he looked up, the sun shining, there was this finger big bushy beside his mustache, and the other one had chewed off. And Herm said, what a hell of a looking thing. He said, I want to work with him. He just grabbed him, took the axe, and sawed her off short.
Tell us about Aunt Sari with the medicine. Tell us about Aunt Sari with the medicine.
Medicine. What, did she give George surgery?
Yeah.
Well, Bryce come down to see Wes tonight. He was dying. And gave him a dose of medicine and left there for another dose. She wasn't dead. She saved it. I didn't have many years and give it to George so he could rest, and I guess he's still resting.
George was her brother?
Yeah, said she had an awful time getting George to take that so he could rest. He knew what was up.
Do you think she knew it was going to make him rest?
Well, certainly she knows it. She wanted that money he had. He had $4,800 and she wanted it. Well, all her life she got eggs and milk. Everything there at home was Duck's one. And when Bill got sick, she goes down to Marcy Days to get him to take care of her affairs. And he sat right in the hospital in Arlington and told me and freed them on us. He was settling up for a state. Said, now he said, if you want to live like John West with you, said, you live all secret. Said she didn't have to do that. Said she got a little money from her brother, about $1,800. And I said, Marcy, that man had more money than that. No, said that's all he had. He had $1,800 in Jeff Bank. I said, I know about that too, but damn if he didn't have $4,800 too in his car or somewhere. And so Herm said one evening he come home from work, Madeline said, Uncle Bill brought $4,800 the other day and wants me to take care of his money. Said he did. Said yes. Said, well, by God, tomorrow morning, the first thing after breakfast, you take it back and give it to him. Said, you're not going to be responsible for his money, I can tell you that, so he made her take it back and give it to him. But Frank gave him a check for $150 for working on that house, and he hadn't been in the bank for, I reckon, 35 years, but he had about $4,800 in the bank in there. And the man told him to have to get somebody to identify him before he cashed his check for him. And he got his interest book out. He said, "Would that be any good?" "Yes," said Joe, "sure, I'll cash it." A damn bit of it. He'd take it back and tell the man it's no good. He refused to cash it. Take it back where he got and tell the man it's no good. So he took it back to Frank and told him he didn't want that check, it's no good. He wouldn't cash it at the bank. So he gave him the money, and he went into the bank and drawed out what he had, and then chatted with him. And the last thing he'd do in the morning, he used to come to my place and wherever he could lodge a couple of days. The last thing he'd do at night was to go to his car, and the first thing in the morning when they got up, he'd go to his car, kept the money in the car.
You lot counted.
And Don said him and Mary went somewhere one night, and Bill thought he'd gone to bed. When he come home, he's counting his money. He said, "They all spread it on the table." They went, oh, he said, "Thought you could be a trash." He said, "You're raking his head." He had a hat full and more besides. And didn't think they was up, thought you'd gone to bed.
Bill and George, the same person we're talking
So
about.
I asked Mabel this past summer,
Yeah.
a year ago now,
George Bush.
at the reunion, I said, "Mabel, I want to ask you something. You can tell me none of my business, or you can tell me what happened or anything about it." But I said, "Did you get billed money, or is it still laying in the mountain?" Said, "I was supposed to tell you I don't know." I said, "Well, that's all right. Whatever you tell me is all right." But I said, "I often wondered where it got to." She said, "I don't know. When my daddy died, they got a little money. And when my mother died, they got more." She said, "You're right smart more." And she said, "I guess it was bills." I don't know where she got it from, but she said, "I guess it was bills." Said she never told her. But he had $4,800 in the citizen bank, and when he refused to cash his check, he drawed it out and carried it with him. And he was up at Knowles one night, it was snowing, blowing. My God, he said, "What weather?" He said, "I got $4,800 bred down in the mountain." He said, "If something was to happen to me, nobody'd never know where it was at." He said, "Would you take care of it if I bring it up here and give it to you?" He said, "No, Bill, I ain't gonna do that."
Why didn't anybody want to help him?
Well, he was crazy. I wouldn't. I owed him a little money for helping to work over there, and I went over the mountain to pay him. He's living over there. "Don't you watch him where I'm going to get this. Don't you watch him where I'm going to get this." He went outside on the porch and got some of the seed buckets, and down in the cellar and got some, all that kind of stuff. I said, "Bill, I ain't bothered where you're getting your money from. I come here to pay you what I owe you." But that was the cause of him dying. He'd have died and nobody never would have known it. If Howard Pearl hadn't have dropped in over there one Sunday, just walking around and dropped in at Seabill. And I was up home, and he come in there, he said, "Uncle Bill's about dead." He said, "He's rattling all down his throat just like Mr. Hope did before he died." And Freed guys went right over there, went home, and then went right over there. Said she come crawling out through the bushes. And Freed says, "Aunt Sarah, how's Uncle Bill?" "Who, George?" Said, "Yes, my God, the Undertaker done got him gone Freddy," said.
Did she always wear a lot of clothes?
Huh?
Did she always wear a lot of outfits?
Yes, as it was. Hell, just one over the top of the other. Snuff all rubbed up underneath them.
What you rubbed the snuff underneath of them for?
Huh?
What you rubbed the snuff underneath of them for?
Well, there's where nobody couldn't see it, I reckon. They just was safe there.
I thought you put snuff in your mouth.
Well, she did, but she'd get on her fingers and then she'd wrap under her petticoat.
Wipe the juice off.
She knows nobody wasn't gonna look up there. Her little snoots maybe she was the only man.
I don't know. When she put George, what's his name, sleep, I'd be afraid too.
Well, how did Aunt Noel meet her husband, Pap?
Huh?
How did Noel meet her husband?
Working at Watercolors, all worked there together. Fanny worked there, and then Noel, there was another woman there, and Noel went over to work, and someone was teasing her about old Tice, old Dutchman. Said she wasn't bothered about that old Dutchman. And she stayed there a couple of years and worked, and damn, she didn't marry him. But she said before she died, nobody else could live with him. It was her, you had to learn to live with him.
Now, how much did they make when they worked at a place like that?
They got $10 a month, Fanny and Noel did. And I reckon the old Dutchman maybe he was getting 15 or 20. John Null told me he was in the store in Adamstown when Tom rolled off the freight train there. He said he couldn't talk, nobody couldn't understand him. Couldn't talk nothing but German, you know. And he said he got him to understand that he was looking for work. He said Watercolor took him on the milk wagon, took him home with him. He said he reckoned he stayed there for, oh, he didn't know, he said 15, 20 years he stayed there and worked for a fellow. And Watercolor told Howard he moved out there, pretty near Walkersville, and bought a farm. He said when he had sales, Tom bought the highest priced horse he had and just got on the road away and never even said thank you.
Well, now, what year was this?
What?
That,
Noel got married?
no, Tice got off the train in Adamstown.
Oh, it was early, I don't know, maybe 1910 or 12 along there.
So he wasn't a German war prisoner then?
Huh?
He wasn't a war prisoner up here at Camp Road?
Oh, no. He come over direct from Germany. He had a brother, let me see now, what was his name? He went to Chicago and settled, and he never knew where he was at, and the old Dutchman was dead a couple months, and he come in to see him, but he was already dead.
Wait all that time.
But then there was a kind of a German tramp. Made out he was a very rich man. He owned oil stock and coal mines and everything. You know, the President Truman and all that. He'd go down to Washington and see him. So the Dutchman financed him several $1,000s and bought new automobiles for each one of them. Tom had them both pay for it. And so finally, the story wasn't coming through very good, and Tom took him to Washington going down to see about it. He'd come back and tell him what Truman said and what the other man told him, and he took him down and wanted to get his shoes shined, he said, before he went to see Truman. And he went in the shoe shine place, and Dutchman went to get a sandwich while he was getting his shoes shined. And when he come back, he was gone, and he said, he asked the man shining shoes what went with him. He said, well, he seemed to be in a hurry. He said he got one shine, he jumped up and left. One shine, one wasn't. So he got down to a place called Beaverlet, Virginia, down there somewhere where lower part of Virginia. And he gave Noel and Tom for reference to this woman he's staying with down there, family. And they wrote her a letter, and she wrote back to him and said to beat them out of several $1,000s. That's kind of a character it was. And said a couple of days she got a letter back from this woman thanking her for her information, but said Vaughn was gone before the letter got back.
Pap, tell us how you hurt your thumb. How'd you cut the end of your thumb off?
Well, sir, I was making that bookcase over there, ripping the last board. It had it all ripped out except the last board. And I was about that far from the saw pushing the board. I don't know yet what happened, but there was something fluid hit me on the back of the hand. And I thought, well, what if that broke my hand? It's turned up and looked at it, and there was nothing out of there. But boy, when I turned over, that thumb was all torn to pieces. And Gladys had just called me for supper. I told her I had just a couple more pieces of board ripped, and I'd be there. I went in, I said, well, I've got to go to the hospital or somewhere. I said, sawed my thumb off. And I don't know how I done it. So, after years after that in the hospital, the surgeon asked me, and they said, who took that thumb off for you? What hospital was you in and had that thumb taken off? I said, there wasn't no hospital. Dr. Cow took it off in the office in Brunswick. They said he done a good job. Yeah, that's what he did. But I didn't know it must have caught I had ripped a lot of boards and there's a lot of scrap. And a piece of it must have hooked the belt or something, flew back and hit me. I didn't know how. But I was looking right at the saw, pushing the board, and I was about that far from it. And all of a sudden something flew and hit me.
Okay.
Well, I've gotta go. You all can keep talking. Get him played harmonica.
Oh, well, why don't you go ahead and play the harmonica right now.
Oh,
Yeah, come on, play a little bit of it. See,
just a little bit.
well, I'll play some. Whatever you can play.
Do you remember Mr. Charlie Johnson's yellow cat?
Oh, yes. Yes.
How about the bear?
Huh?
How about the bear song?
The bear.
About the bear.
Oh, yes. Preacher went out hunting.
I heard that on WTRI a couple weeks ago.
Was kind of against you legend, but it took his gun along.
I never heard that one. Sucker goes off now.
Okay, I gotta go.
He's entertaining.
That is stuff.
Yeah.
Chicken over there.
Come on.
We walked in that thing.
See ya.
Yeah,
I gotta go to Ashley's game.
come around.
All right.
Say the name. Now let something fell.
When did you learn to play that?
Huh?
When did you learn to play that?
When did I learn?
Yeah.
Oh, ever since I was a boy.
How about you just picked it up on your own?
Yes.
Can you sing? Sing it.
Huh?
Sing it. That's not it? Which one's his? Sing Charlie Johnson's Cat.
Oh, it ain't very good on this. Oh, Mr. Charlie Johnson had some troubles of his own with an old yellow cat, and he wouldn't stay at home. Give him to a preacher and they wouldn't stay. Well, they thought it was a goner, but the cat came back. 'Cause he couldn't stay away. Well, he gave him to a little boy with a dollar note. Took him out on the river in a little wooden boat. Tied a rock around his neck, weighed about a pound. Everybody surely thought the boy would get him down, but the cat came back. 'Cause he couldn't stay away. He gave him to a man that was going up in a balloon to leave with the man that was up in the moon. balloon had busted in before the miles around. Pieces of them had to picked up dead was all that could be found, but the cat came back. 'Cause he couldn't stay away. Well, the man got on the corners where that cat he killed at sight. Loaded up his musket just and nailed him dynamite. Waited in the garden till the cats came around. About 4 to 7 pieces of the man had all found, but the cat came back. 'Cause he couldn't stay away. He gave him to a nigger that was going well west. Had him on a train and it was a fast express. That train struck a broken rail, not a soul was left to tell the tale. Well, I thought it was a goner, but the cat came back. 'Cause he couldn't stay away. Well, the cat was on the porch in the sunshine one fine day. Long come an organ grinder and commenced to play. That cat raised up and turned round his head. Well, maybe I'm doubted, but the cat fell dead. But George came back. 'Cause he couldn't stay away.
That's got what, about 9 verses to it. I heard it one day on the television. Hadn't heard it for years. You're the only person I ever heard sing it. You made it up.
I heard on that WGRI radio, and Mom Magley used to sing it.
Well, let's see. Now, today's the 5th of October, 1988. And you're what? You were 90? You don't hear me. Just lay flat. It'll be going off a little bit. Now, I want to take you in one day, try to get you and Grandma together. Hopefully we can get her one day when
Was
she's
it
good.
possible? Was it possible?
Yeah, you never know. Let's get you for a little bit. Take you in and film the 2 of you together for a little bit. Hopefully she'll be enough.
Yeah, but is it possible that I'm gonna tell you she's in bad shape?
Well, she might be a good day for her. No, it's a shame baby didn't hear you playing.
Huh?
Shame the baby didn't hear you playing.
I went to see if he was gonna get up.
Well,